My name is Rhapsody and welcome back to Shadows of a Loathing. Look, the opening for all of these episodes is very similar to one another, and I would like to make that a little more differentiated at this point, right? So, let's play with that cadence, let's play with that voice a little bit there. Hey, we have the watered down plain fuel. This fuel is all wet. We are going to need to distill this for this Rond Rasmussen, who we've discovered here at this site. We've already pulled the plane parallel to the plane of the ground, to set up a runway as well. Now we also have some other stuff. I guess I don't need this truck anymore. Oh right! I promised that I would return it! I returned the truck! The dump truck is back where it belongs, thanks to your integrity and civic-mindedness. No problem. We need to come back here with a pickaxe as well. I will have to remember that. Now, the Moonshiner's shack, I believe, should have some distilling equipment. Let's have a look at what else we might think of. Side quests. Rasmussen, no. Largemouth Bass and Sons, again, that's something we're currently working on. I don't have a density of things I can do in other areas. I have a couple of things I can do in other areas, but I may as well just continue exploring here, find as much new content as quickly as possible. And then go and sweep areas. It doesn't seem like the game is very keen for locking me out of things, unless it's by an active thing that I've done, right? So like killing the fishman, for instance. It's not a decision I knew I was making, but I was at least doing a thing, whereas it doesn't seem like, you know, we've moved to day 4, so now John Parliament isn't standing, you know, on the edge of the pier and doesn't give their quest line, you know, something like that. Let's go to the Radio Shack. A flash of light cuts through the trees. The glare passes, and when you see it, and then you see it, poking its head out from above the canopy. A telescope. Why, you fancied a telescope ever since you were a child. You'd press your nose to the window of the telescope, shop for hours, until the proprietor would run out and threaten to tan your glutes with a tripod. And I still want a telescope. And you've waited long enough! Go get your telescope! A telescope in a treehouse. I go there now. Hey, it's a new location. It's equal to Radio Shack as far as I'm concerned. A bald cypress so tall and so tough, it's no surprise some fellow has chosen to make it a tree home. I shout up. Hello?
Hey pal, why don't you keep walking, huh? This is Will Hunter's treehouse and the rules is, tain't no grown-ups allowed.
You mispronounced aloud.
What you gotta be so mean for? You're just like all them toochers at school.
I'm not gonna make like a treehouse and leaf house. I'm not gonna ask what's your story, Will. This is clearly a Stranger Thing, right? You know, it's a tree home, it's Will, etc. Look, those are the two things that I've clocked. I watched 3 seasons of Stranger Things. Honestly, the only thing I remember is the scene where David Harbour was shirtless. I know it's not pronounced Tooches, and I know you know it's not pronounced Tooches.
I suck eggs!
What's up there?
Oh, it ain't anything, I swear, you don't want to see it anyway.
I want to use the telescope you've got there.
Afraid the telescope's property of Will Hunter, same as my licorice correction.
Do you mean licorice?
No, licorice. Wouldn't be called licorice, cause it tain't made of rice. It's called licorice, cause you lick it. But I'm saving mine up so I can lick them all at once.
How long have you been saving your licorice?
Reckon it's only been a few months. It's okay to wait a few months on licorice, so long as it's refrigerated good and proper.
Have you refrigerated it?
It's in my pocket with some ice, so I reckon so.
What's your story, Will?
Tain't much to tell. I ain't an interesting pal. I swear not to folks like you city folks, at least no ways.
I'm not city folk.
Ever seen a pig birth?
No.
Reckon not. Not many pigs giving birth in the city, I hear.
What are you doing in a swamp?
Nothing strange. Same things every boy gets up to, I reckon.
I don't want to know what that is.
I ain't telling anyways.
Can you let me up?
No adult ever been up in Will Hunter's treehouse, and I ain't fixing to break that streak, not for nothing nor nobody.
You need to let me up, I say with 8 moxie.
That's all? Well, what's in it for Will?
Aiding my vital mission against the forces of evil.
Mission, huh? That like a job? I ain't got no job, pal, and I don't need one. I'm fixing to get by in life through general scampery.
Sounds like a no one helping you up the tree. Maybe you'll have to think of something else. I just climbed the tree. Enough of this. It's time to clasp your robust limbs around the trunk of the wet, shedding cypress and begin to shimmy.
Hey now, this is a private treehouse. Stop or I'll pin you till you can't stand up.
I take the risk. Why, there's no boy up in this treehouse at all, only the large and sagging features of a human face, sunk into the tree's very trunk. Surely that can't be young Will Hunter.
All right, well, I reckon now paint no keeping you from seeing my plight. I've been wicked, pal.
What happened to you?
Tain't much to tell.
That can't possibly be true. The great tree sighs, shedding scraps of bark that drift to the treehouse floor.
Well, you ever heard of a doctor? You know what that is?
Yeah, Will, I know what a doctor is, and you're sounding dangerously like, it's Molly? Molly, I think her name was?
I understand, but I'm trying to play in the same realm of general height for the youth of the character I thought it was gonna be. And see, look, it's indistinct. Rub it in, why don't you? I already told you, Will Hunter never got along with no tooches. I only ever met one doctor, Dr. Weiss, lived on the same street as my step-aunt. Plus, one morning he paid me 6 bits to fix his fence. Well, heck, I swear I was fixing to do it, pal. But then I heard there was an interesting trout down at the river. A little wider than average, but not very wide, just the way Will Hunter likes. How could a boy resist?
No, I agree. You needed to go catch that slightly wide trout.
What? Gonna catch it, pal, only to measure it for my notes on trout width. Anyway, Doc Weiss, he weren't real pleased, and to teach me a lesson, he went and cursed me to be a tree.
What lesson are you supposed to learn from this?
That I ought to paint fences if I say I'm fixin' to.
I guess that's it, yeah.
That's about all I can think of.
How'd the doctor turn you into the tree?
Don't ask Will Hunter how. All I know is doctors, they got all kinds of powerful tools. Tweezers, height chart. Could've used anything.
Could you end this curse?
Well, the doctor told me I'd be a tree till I could make a good enough painting by a bunch of fences all around town. Hard enough for me to do that like this, I could tell you.
I could do that for you.
Oh, pal, you paint fences? You wouldn't want to do that.
What'll you give me for it? I'm not even gonna say sure I would first. What'll you give me for it?
Say, that's a thought. Why, I got all sorts of treasure, pal, from gold bars to them pirate coins. If you help me out of this one, I'll give you the most valuable thing I own. A crystal.
No thanks. I got a whole mine of them, but I'll do it anyway. The wind picks up and snaps off a few weak twigs, but Will doesn't seem to mind.
Say, that's real swell. Thanks a lot, pal. That doc who cursed me had a nice white picket fence, and he said something like,
Will Hunter gotta paint 3 more fences just like this, or he'll be a tree forever.
Paint 3 fences. Got it.
You can get my paints and brush from out of my knapsack. I'd hand them to you, but I am a tree.
Is there a ladder you can put down?
Suppose I can. Ain't a ladder in the way you know it, though, but part of the tree that I could sort of waggle around. If I was still a boy, I'd reckon you'd say it's like my fingers or nostrils.
Will Hunter extends his long, arborescent fingers and or nostrils through a hole in the tree house back to the swamp floor. You should be able to climb down those nostrils now. And or fingers. I'll see you around, Will. It's a Huck knapsack, the favored brand of rascals and imps. I emptied it out and gained Will's paint and brush.
Take care of those, will ya? That long-handled brush belonged to my grandfather.
Sorry, a grandfather. Your grandfather?
Don't think so.
I'll keep an eye out for 3 fences.
Much obliged.
The telescope is a gateway lens that often leads to the use of binoculars.
I peek through. In the distance, everything you see in the telescope is in the distance. A plume of black smoke rises from the top of the treetops. The swamp has failed to elect a pope this night. That's good. Plume of smoke. Excellent. As soon as we see white smoke above there, we will know the ballots have been burned. When he reaches a certain age, a boy loses his enthusiasm for hoarding rocks in treehouse. This is called the death of innocence. Old Will Harper got himself metamorphosed into a bold cypress. I say hello. And you know what? I'm just gonna leave. I'll come back and have a discussion with you later if I need to have a discussion with you later. If I don't, well, that would be surprising. It seems like I would. Okay. Strange times indeed for a grown-up to be visiting a secret treehouse. I just want to make sure that the message I saw previous was not a new location. No, it was not. Okay, now. Plume of smoke. Do I want to see the, you know, the plane that's being downed here, you know? Full of Hail Mary statues. Themselves full of heroin. Do I want to risk Charlie's life with the temptation over at the Plume of Smoke? Or do I make my way to the Radio Shack? I'll tell you, I'm doing the actual first. As in, remember at the start of the episode when I said I was going to the Radio Shack? That makes it first, and then that's second. And Radio Shack's third is also. You find a chunk of oil shale jutting out of a stagnant pool, making the surrounding water all greasy and colourful. I analyze the shale and I ask the shale about its mother, and it cries tears of shellac. Impenetrable shellac. Obviously, I'm going to be closing this. With my pliers. A red fern. Something really depressing must have happened here. Another one of those Gatormen campsites. Maybe the ones who kidnapped Charles came this way. I investigate. At the Gatormen camp, alright, there's 4 more wrenches here. A 3132 one, a 63/64 one, and a 127/128 one, and a 250. My man has a lot of wrenches that are just off being an inch measurement. The wrenches are laid out in the shape of an arrow pointing to a nearby hill. From the top of the hill, you can see some sort of fort in the distance, apparently hammered together with rusty scrap metal. That's gotta be where the Gatorman took him. Location unlocked. Gatorman Fortress. You grab all the wrenches and combine them with the other ones you dropped to complete the set. Return them to Charles. We'll do so at some point in the future. These bricks have been inexpertly mortared together. I pry them apart with my 8 muscle. Ah, those bricks were there to cover up the fact that the brick was missing. Lamest conspiracy ever. Alright, let's actually make our way into the station. It's property of WGCR rather. WGCR, Swamp News coming at you live. They always have a fart sound on the on the soundboard. They 100% do. Tell me I'm wrong. You'll be wrong. And then I'll tell you you're wrong. There's a couple of pieces of tape stuck back to the bricks here. I remove the tape. The 2 holes you've opened in the wall are letting swamp water in. And also out again. You might expect them to cancel each other out, but I guess not. Fluid dynamics are a mystery to me. There's some guys hanging out here looking stoic and cool. And also a Gatorman with more than the usual allotment of teeth. I could approach them, but surely I should swap my weapon first, just in case. I'm not saying anything, but I'm saying something, you know? Dirty sacks. Oh, when they finally invent gritty cop shows, you'll be able to give them the perfect soundtrack. There's some guys hanging out here looking stoic and cool. I approach them. Hi. Who are you guys? We are radio technicians. Why are you standing here in the dark? Why not? It is radio, there is nothing to see. Well, you've got me there. That machinery looks weird. Are you speaking of the battery units that appear to be powered by outer space or some form of negative energy or something like that? Yeah, that's strange, right? They are not standard issue, it is true. So what? I cannot tell you any more about them. So what's this stuff for? Sigh. Always with the questions. I'm sorry, I just have a curious nature. I will not reveal to you our employer's plans.
there are plans to use this equipment to broadcast her voice across this country once she has assumed full control of the government. Please? No, stop asking. Shucks. Wait, is that a Gatorman? Oh no. Have you not seen a Gatorman yet? Sorry, it's hard to keep track. These are the guys Jessica mentioned, and they're pretty much what you'd expect from the name Gatorman. They're intelligent, upright walking alligators. They have tough, scaly teeth, tough, scaly skin, lots of teeth, and pissy attitudes about everything that they aren't already eating. They especially hate intruders, and are the second biggest reason that this swamp isn't a popular tourist destination. The first being, well, it's a swamp. Okay. Hey, about this water. What about it? I just wanted to point out that it's not stagnant. It's flowing from one side of the room to the other. Running water? One of our very common weaknesses.
Water burning? Irony terrible!
The vampires make for the door, but get in each other's way and dissolve to ash that is quickly washed away. Excuse me? The Gatorman was a vampire? They were vampires? If you don't know what this console does... I'm sorry, you don't know what this console does, but if it's any consolation, nobody really expects it to. I hook up Rufus's gadget, maybe. Apparently it's powered by evil, or at least weird. There's nothing on this table. I guess it just looks cooler to stand around a table than just arbitrarily in a room. Weren't those guys sharing one bed? Wait, why isn't it a coffin? Wow, this thing's pretty cool, and it looks very lightweight. I grab it. You carefully pocket the zappy orb thingamajig. You got an item, glowy lightning ball thing. Can you believe this thing was invented in the past and not approximately 60 years from now? Barely. The nightstand keeps its lonely vigil. I dig through it and find a jewelry case. Hey, whoever used to work here left their jewelry behind. A small jewelry case, which should come in handy if you need to move some jewelry from place to place and don't want to wear it on the trip. I open it and immediately get myself a amethyst earrings. Ooh, baby. 2 gems dragged from the earth of the old world on silver posts mined from the depths of the new. It's like the jewelry equivalent of pizza. Regenerates 3 HP per round. And a flute rod ring. A good flute gave its life so this ring could exist. Soothing flute will heal 2 additional HP per round. 5 AoE per round. This is all good. I'm very, very pleased about each and every one of these developments. There's a to-do list here with a single entry. God's radio equipment. You raise the check mark. Nah, they did it. It's just it's also been undid. I really wish I could just mark the accursed fishing to constantly be available. I'm going into the restroom, so I know what I need. I flush the toilet, which is devoid of any broadcast features. I get 55 experience for having done so, and then I fish in it. The legends were true. You got an item, Deuce the toilet. It's a new familiar! Yes, I've been wanting one of these. A mighty alligator born unto the surface world. 5 muscle, 1 mysticality and moxie, and max HP 9. Bites your enemy dealing physical damage. I need to go and also get myself more pet chow, familiar chow, so that I can actually upgrade my familiars as well. The radio people were probably saving this stuff in case anyone ever invents video and they have to go to war. You got an item, Bertwood's finest tooth wax. It's a whole ball of prescription strength tooth wax. Increases your moxie by 1, and Rhino Balm for increasing your your muscle by 1 rather. Let's plug in Rufus's gadget. You plug in Rufus's gadget and the console starts emitting a different series of beeps than it was emitting before.
Oh look, that one. Double red.
Okay. So that makes it now our time to shine by activating all the radios. Let's go save Charles first. You hear a commotion, or perhaps a tussle, or a good old-fashioned ruckus nearby. Investigating, you find several vampires have a Gatorman pinned to the ground or appearing to try and vampirize him.
Hold still, will you? His neck is all scaly and tough. Did someone bring a drill or a can opener or something?
I interrupt them.
Hey, leave that Gatorman alone. I won't stand for you vampires going around inflicting your undeadness or disease or whatever it is on innocent people.
I think it's a disease.
We aren't undead. Not like a zombie or skeleton anyway, but the last necromancer was killed decades ago. Hey, stop that!
Yeah, don't talk with your mouth full.
I mean, stop biting that guy!
Mind business!
He volunteered anyway, I am already finished. What? Really?
Drink blood, power big.
The Gatorman stands up with a terrible red glow in his eyes.
Drink blood, kill busybody.
Ah, jeez.
I bite them.
You forced me to do this. I didn't even want to murder you in cold blood.
But again, I absolutely will. Okay, let's get Sacks of Violence for 3 damage AoE per round. 15 to the Swamp Gas Swamp Mire. Oh, that's some stench damage happening out there. That poison then means the Swamp Fire is not going to be a problem for me in the future. Let's throw a tricky timpani up on top, and a single weapon swing will take you out.
Doing this with only one target on the field.
And an easy time murdering them. You won! You can make a suitcase out of this Gatorman skin. Then, you can have a suitcase that catches fire in the daytime to go with your one that catches fire at night. 13 experience, 87 meat. You got an item, Hollow Gator Tooth, a bottle of Bloodshine, and another bottle of Bloodshine. Hollow Gator Tooth is a MLA weapon. Vampirism does strange things to your teeth, and if your teeth were already huge to begin with, there's a lot more room for strangeness. Deals your muscle +5 and physical damage, heals you by 3. Doubles your moxie! Bottle of Bloodshine. Blood distilled into a powerful, fast-acting vampire. You have to admit, sometimes vampires have the right idea. What? That's gonna make us ridiculously powerful. If I need to take down a combat suddenly, I'll tell you, I have the ability to. These Gatormen aren't really doing enough damage to each other to make it seem like a real fight. Either they're just sparring, or this is how Gatormen arguments work. Either way, they're not really paying attention to. I sneak past them with my 7 moxie. Yeah, that looked moxed to hell. Speaking of, it's time for us to put the crab clogs on. There we go. This filthy pipe must lead inside, presumably to the bathroom part of inside, if the smell is any indication. Well, that's gotta be where I gotta go then. Let me get some stench defense on. Is that gonna be enough? Is indeed. I crawl through. The pipe turns out to be much longer than you expected, with lots of twists and turns. Clearly, efficient airflow in ventilation systems is not a big priority in Gatorman architecture. You eventually come out into either a garbage processing center or a kitchen. Let's take a look. Oh, classic, both. It's one of those fridges. You know, the ones hanging on big rusty chains? I see what's inside. The chain wasn't attached very well and the whole thing comes loose. You got an item, a refrigerator on a chain. Neither the refrigerator nor the chain is in very good shape, and you're probably gonna have to find a better version of this very specific combination. But you're probably not gonna find, rather, a better version of this very specific combination. There's nothing of value on the shelves. Probably not even by Gatorman standards. The remains of an awful, awful meal. It does slightly feel and look in this area like the scene from Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. The first meal with the family. This is a kitchen, only in the sense that it's where quote-unquote food is quote-unquote prepared. Even if Gatormen bother to cook their meals, they probably don't cook them in an electric stove standing in 18 inches of water. Most of the filth was scrubbed out of the pipe by your passing, if you want to go back through it. I do want that. No, I don't. This must be the Gatorman's dinner bell. Ring it. Obviously not. Excuse me? It's Charles! He's in a cage! It's a cage with Charles in it! I talk to him. What's Charles' voices today? What do you sound like today, buddy? Charles!
Shh, they don't hear you. Oh, right. Boy, am I glad to see you, kids. I thought I was a goner. You're the adventurous type and all, but do you know how to pick a lock? Only with the appropriate shaped key. Oh, you'll have to get it off their leader then. I think his room's down the other end of the hall.
Okay, Everett, I'll be right back. Or Edgar?
This bunch of Gatormen. Wait, what's the collective noun for Gatormen? A cruelty? A depravity? A butthole? Well, anyway, this bunch of Gatormen. No, it's a butthole of Gatormen. Seem more concerned with the possibility of someone breaking in their front door than sneaking in through their kitchen. I could sneak attack them, or I can regular attack them. But it looks like I only have the two options, a sneak or a regular. Do I have any alternatives that I may perform? A different thing that I may do? With what I currently have access to, not necessarily. I'm gonna sneak attack him. You stealthily creep up behind one of the Gatormen and knock him out with a quick strike to the back of the head. The other two seem shocked by this poor display of sportsmanship. Really? You don't know me well. This is not a situation for sportsmanship, friend. This is a situation for outright aggression. Alright, so 5 poison on the... Why? Where's my... Where's Professor... Oh, I guess Professor Adams didn't fit in the hole. Makes sense. There's yet another 15 physical damage for you. Goodbye, Gatorman. Goodbye, Gatorman. You won. Now their collective noun is an unconsciousness. 14 experience, 128 meat, and Gator Punch. Gator Punch is a potion. They drink it, but that doesn't mean they like it. Increases your melee attack by 5. Guess let's sleep in Gator's lie. Will do. I found an anvil, a forge. Preferably for hammering on terrible Gator metals. Gatorman Fortress, the supply closet. A big, rusty chemical barrel, which I obviously investigate. The barrel says chloroform, and so does the smell leaking out of it. Woof. Alright, I'm gonna fish in it before I tip it over. Give me some chloroform, please. Ah, I got a napping wetlands nasty bass. Oh, I've been waiting to find one of them. All of the other ones I've found have been awake. Found a drowsy greenish brown muck eel. No, those are extremely common. I'm not excited to see another one. And a wet cigarette, finally! Alright, I investigate the barrel and I dump it out. I see what you're going for, and sure, filling the place with chloroform fumes would knock out all of the guards. But it would also knock you out, and the water you're standing in is almost knee deep. You can double check your to-do list if you want, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't have drown scheduled for today. Hey buddy, what are you talking about? I have a gas mask. Don't I? Cold War's gas mask. Boom. Dump it out. Cold War's gas mask, baby! You dump out the barrel of chloroform and sort of flap your arms to wave to the wave the fumes out into the hall. After a second, you hear a Gatorman yell, "Smell funny!" Ugh. And then several loud splashes. I gain 40 experience and say, nice. The items on the shelf are far too nasty for you to look at, let alone touch. A loose length of rusty chain, which I grab. A length of rusty chain! You're not sure how long this chain is because you're not supposed to... Sorry. You're not sure how long this chain is because you're not sure how tight you're supposed to pull a chain when you measure it, and also because you don't really care. You have to pull it until it starts deforming. That's when you really know its actual length. For a very, very brief period of time. This shoebox is waterlogged. A real surfeit of nouns. See if there's any loafers in there, and there are big ones. The box disintegrates. Wide loafers. This is either a pair of shoes for 2 people, or 2 pairs of shoes for people who only like to wear 1 shoe, but on both feet at once. It widens your gait. We'll wear that on a later episode. I gotta enjoy the crab while we've got it. I feel like we did pretty good in this non-combat option route. Those guards are still out there. You'll have to fight them if you want to leave this way. I don't want to leave that way then. Lucky he didn't crush his hat when he passed out. Sweet dreams, Gatorman. You're not sure if it was the chloroform or the vigorous workout that caused this Gator to pass out. And that doesn't look very comfortable, my man. That's... I mean, it's a hell of a stretch. Gatorman Fortress. Throne room. Do you think the Gatorman's taste in books is as bad as everything else about them? I investigate. Keeping the rust off your iron fist. Don't eat your henchmen. Tips for new rulers. Spot welding guide for ad hoc fortresses. Yeah, these are pretty much all what you'd expect. Well, except this one that seems interesting. You got an item, making the most of your stabbings. A knife fighter's guide to maximizing the effect of each stab. Grants a combat skill, Knife in the Dark, deals 25% of an enemy's max HP and physical damage. Neat. I'll read that. You've skimmed the book. There are so many places to stab a person that never even occurred to you. You got an item, a skill, Knife in the Dark. The dark is one of the most painful places to get stabbed. There are some diaphragms in the back that show the most painful places to stab each of the most common categories of stabbing victim. You could memorize it, but it'd take some effort. I upgrade and do 10% additional max HP damage. You study the weaknesses of your future foes until you're confident that you're the best stabber you can be. You practice your stabbing on a nearby tree, but you don't have a knife handy, so you use the book instead. It is destroyed in the process. Dang. This hole leads into a massive underground chamber. Attach the chain you found. There, that ought to do it, and now I have the ability to climb down! We did it! Solved the problem before we even found it. You found it, the world's least comfortable chair, and this is the real seat of power, a throne next to the throne. I'm gonna fish in this throne first. Gaining a filthy scepter. This scepter would have been really bad for the skeptic tank. I say skeptic with a C in it because I'm trying to pronounce it so you know it's not septic how it's usually spelled. They're doing a pun. Brandish this if you want everyone to think you are the monarch of Toilet Mountain. It's an offhand item for poison all opponents for 3, once per fight. That seems relatively low in power for this point in the game. I flush the toilet, getting another 60 experience. And I am going to use this hole to go down into the massive underground chamber.
Robberty private, scram!
Says a kingly... A kingly Gatormen down here. You don't know what this object is, but... Oh, wait, it's got blood all over it. It's an altar. Huh? Where'd it go? It's a weird pedestal. I could touch it. And will. Oh. It turned a teleporter on.
I serious, go away!
Says the Gatorman, who then immediately runs away from us. Whatever this is, it's extremely broken. I try to fix it with my 7 mysticality. All of these blocks are clearly trying to move in a way that makes sense. They've just gotten knocked out of alignment. I realign them. You move the blocks around relative to one another until they start moving in a more satisfying pattern. Assuming you're a person who thinks smooth circular pattern is more satisfying than juddery, spark-spewing nonsense. Surely everybody is that kind of person. This has to be right. Yep. The device seems less broken now. I could use it, but let's have a look at the rest of the room first. Weird pedestal that I could touch. Alright, let's use it. Dang it! Ow! Dang it! Ow! Ow! Dang it! Good grief. You wouldn't have fixed it if you'd known it was going to be so ungrateful. It got a perk Ziggurat power. You've been blasted a bunch of times with ancient lasers, and it has awakened the ancient laser power concealed in the mitochondria of your cells. You can use 3 additional combat items per... Wow! That's a biggie. I do wonder if these, you know, the roaming skylights, I guess, need to be over a certain area and then flash with the weird pedestal. I don't know. I'm currently capable of opening the portal. I'm just gonna stick with that for the moment.
I warning, kill you!
Alright, buddy. I don't believe it. This is some kind of ancient temple guardian or something? It's shooting out a bunch of tightly focused laser beams that science doesn't really have a name for yet. Which you can probably assume you don't want touching you. I avoid the beams with 8 Moxie. Ooh, giving it our best Zeta Jones. We made it all the way back to the start. I gotta say, I've never seen a move like the full inversion helicopter legs to fly to the other side of the room. That's special.
You worst! I destroy! Goliath kill!
Goliath came and just killed him. Wow, geez. He really did a number on this guy. I searched the puddle. You poke around in the mulch until you find something that more or less looks like an old iron key, except kind of blurry? It sizzles and twitches in your hand as you try and pick it up. You got an item, Cursed Key. You've been handling a lot of cursed objects lately, and this one seems especially dangerous. This has to be the key that Charles mentioned. You look at the hulking Goliath at the end of the hall, there doesn't seem to be anything beyond it, and it looks like it could squash you in an instant. Let's go back and unlock Charles. You make your way quickly back up to the room where he was being held. Okay, so you're not even gonna let me the choice there. Fair enough. Hey, Charles. I unlock the key cage.
Oh, you found the key!
I think so. It's sort of weird, though.
Yeah, I don't like the looks of that at all. I bet dollars to donuts that's the artifact we're looking for.
It couldn't possibly be the key to this random Gatorman cage in the middle of nowhere, could it?
Well, it might have advised some kind of key-related powers. Normally I'd advise against using it, but I don't see any other way out of this mess.
Okay, here goes. Unlock the cage. I was intending not to do that. I was gonna go to the home and uncurse the key before doing this, but well, maybe. The key shifts unpleasantly in your hand, buzzing and well, it didn't give me the option to back out. That's why I didn't do it. Buzzing and clicking through a jerky slideshow of shapes, as though searching for a particular slice of high-dimensional object that will fit this lock. When it finally finds the right one, it jerks forward in your hand and twists, and the lock clicks open. Your hand feels numb.
Thank you, Ryan. I thought for sure my bacon was well and surely fried.
Don't mention it, Charles. Let's just get out of the heck out of this dump. With no further calls to stick around, apart from unfinished side quests that you may have, and you can always come back for them later, you escort Charles back to town. You get 45 experience for having done so.
Ryan, you found the cursed artifact and brought Charles home safely. I can't express how grateful I am. I don't know what we'd do without him. Thank you so much.
Well, it wasn't nothing, but you know.
Yeah, I get it. Don't forget to uncurse that thing before you go to bed.
This key seems like it has the power to open any lock. That could be extremely useful. Would it really be all that bad if I didn't uncurse it?
Well, I'm not gonna drag you into the machine and force you to do it, but yes, I don't actually know what would happen if you don't uncurse it, but I assume it would be pretty bad. Look, you uncursed all the other things, right?
Yeah.
Great, go ahead and uncurse this one too. Better safe than sorry.
All right. Maybe that is the excuse for how the game gets us to do it. Called on D! I called the mob back! Oh boy.
Tak, slucham.
The guys don't know how to read Cyrillic.
Diga. Bueno. Moshi moshi. Toblerone. Guten Tag. Solunga. Met Donald. Allo. Hala. Da.
Mullet, stick to English or I quit. Your resistance to international forms of communicating may prove to have a hinderancing effect upon you in the future. Our organization possesses ambitions of operating worldwide-wise. I'll jump off that bridge when I get to it. What do you need, Don? An in-complex reacquisition. The team of our operatives transportizing a shipment of alcoholery through the local wetlands encountered some difficultatiousness and were compelled to abandon their submarine. Submarine? The wetlands proved to be drier than we had anticipated. Uh-huh. So you need me to recover the booze? Where do you want me to take it? You may retain the booze as your recompense. Our only requisition is that it not be acquired by prohibition agents for fear that they may discover our fingerprinting upon it. Ah, yeah, glass bottles do take fingerprints really readily. The bottles as well, yes, that's an excellent point. It gives you directions to wreck submarine. The mob submarine, okay, I'm on my way. I'm gonna go deal with that submarine as well as try and uncurse this in the uncursing machine at the start of the next episode. But until then, my name is Rhapsody, the name of the game has been Shadows over Loathing. Top left is the series playlist for all my content in the Game Pass for in the future. YouTube recommendation down below, streaming past the names of people who are generously supporting the Republic on patreon.com/RhapsodyPlays. I would rather thank Tay and a special thanks this episode to John. Hopefully you all have been enjoying subs, and hopefully see you all next time.